Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 18th of July 2023. Today we are going to look into all those articles that are important for the prelims and mains exam. Okay, so let's start the discussion on the news articles. So today we have included many topics, 14 topics we have included for the discussion. 8 topics are listed in this page and their page numbers have also been listed, okay, with their relevance for the for the UPSC syllabus. Okay, so these are the topics that we are going to cover today. So let's discuss about the first topic now quickly. It says Delhi dispute. Supreme Court may send case to Constitution bench. Okay. So you might be knowing that there is a tussle that is going on between the Delhi government and the central government, and the tussle is related to multiple matters. One of the most important matter on which the tussle is happening is related to an ordinance that was recently passed or promulgated by the central government related to the Delhi government. So we are going to discuss about that aspect, and the syllabus part for the for this article is mentioned over here, right? You can download the PDF of today's discussion from the description of the video, and so let us start the discussion on this topic. Okay, so the topic is Delhi dispute. So we are going to discuss about this particular topic. So what is the dispute all about? So we are going to discuss about that dispute as well. Okay, so the thing is, like, dispute is between the Delhi government and the central government. Okay, dispute is between Delhi government and central government. So we will discuss about these dispute, right, and I'm going to mention about them. So the thing is, recently you might be knowing that Delhi government has been fighting with the central government, and central government, for example, if I talk about Delhi government, so Delhi is a union territory. All of us know Delhi is a union territory that has a legislature. Okay, it has a legislature and it has an elected government, and that elected government appointed a chief minister for Delhi. Okay, and at the same time in Delhi itself, like, the central government has appointed a lieutenant governor. Okay, lieutenant governor. And so the lieutenant governor has an authority which is similar to the governors in a state. Okay, but since Delhi is a union territory, not all things are under the Delhi government. 3 specific provisions are under the central government. What are those things? One is, let's say, land, then police, and public order. Okay, so there are 3 things, okay, that are under the central government. But apart from this, if I talk about, let's say, the Delhi as a union territory, so Delhi government needs to rule over this particular union territory, and for that they need effective, okay, what they need? They need effective authority in matters related to, okay, in matters related to the services. The services means the officers of the civil services. And if I talk about the Constitution of India, in the Constitution of India, under 7th schedule of the Constitution of India, they have 3 lists. One of the list is union list, under which subjects are mentioned, and in these subjects the union government or central government can make laws. Then there is a state list. Okay, in this state list, the state governments and union territories with legislature, they can make laws. Then apart from this, there is another list which is known as concurrent list, and in the concurrent list only the state governments and both the state governments and the union government can make legislation. So when we talk about these service matters and when we talk about the union territory of Delhi, in the Constitution of India there is an article 239 AA. Okay, article 239 AA, and this particular article is about the establishment of union territory of Delhi. It gives authority to Delhi as a, let's say, Delhi has some special rights. So this is known as GN. So this particular article has led to establishment of GNTD Act. Okay. The Government of National Capital Territory, okay, GNCTD, National Capital Territory of Delhi Act. So this particular article of the Constitution of India has given special rights, and like through this, like an act was established, and through this act, like Delhi government derives its authority. So like this article has, I mean this article mentions that the Delhi government will have the authority to decide about the appointment and transfer of officers, okay, the civil services rules, I mean like this for those officers who are part of Delhi government. So like the Delhi government will have authority over it. And so related to this, there has been a tussle that was going on between the Delhi government and the lieutenant governor who is appointed by the central government, and that this particular tussle is not new. It has been happening since 8 years after, let's say like the Delhi government came into power under Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, okay. So it's been 8 years that both the parties are fighting, okay, related to the service matters. And recently, like in the month of May 2023, the Supreme Court of India, especially 11th May 2023, the Supreme Court of India has given a judgment, okay, and that judgment was given by a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court of India that comprised the Chief Justice of India also, and they have given a judgment in favor of the Delhi government. They have especially they have mentioned clearly that the Delhi government will have the power related to service matters of, let's say, officers who are working in Delhi, okay. Just after 8 days of this particular let's say judgment from the Delhi government, what has happened, the central government, okay, just after 8 days, like this judgment was given by the Supreme Court on 11th May, and on 19th May 2023, the central government came up, okay, the central government came up with an ordinance, okay, the central government came up with an ordinance, and that ordinance has taken away the authority from the Delhi government, okay. So that ordinance has changed some of the provisions that are mentioned under Article 239AA of the Constitution of India, okay. So what is the name of that particular ordinance? It is known as National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Ordinance, okay. It is known as National Capital Territory of Delhi, National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Ordinance 2023. Amendment Ordinance 2023. So this particular ordinance has been promulgated by the President of India on 19th of July, okay, like 19th of May itself, 19th of May 2023. And this ordinance has, let's say, like totally toppled, like it has just overturned the decision of the Supreme Court of India. And after then the Delhi government has been, let's say, like trying to unite the opposition so that this particular bill may not be passed in the Parliament of India. And at the same time they have been reaching the Supreme Court of India for a with an appeal against it. So recently this, if we talk about this article that came in news, this article cites the, let's say, like Supreme Court, like Supreme Court's view on this particular thing. So Supreme Court of India, under the Chief Justice of India, the Supreme Court of India has said that they are going to refer this particular matter, to a constitutional bench, okay, constitutional bench of the Supreme Court of India, okay. So if I talk about the constitutional bench, a constitutional bench will comprise of at least 5 judges of the Supreme Court of India, okay. It will comprise of 5 judges of the Supreme Court of India. Why they want to let's say, like hear this matter through a constitutional bench? Because they want to give more authority to this judgment, okay. So the Chief Justice of India, like Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud, okay, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, he has mentioned that, like, we are going to refer this matter to a constitutional bench so that the judgment that comes out, it becomes more authoritative in nature, okay. So this is the thing that is happening, but as of now, what is the, let's say, update in this particular case? We are going to discuss about that update also, okay. On one side there is Delhi, on the other side there is central government. So the central government is being represented by the Solicitor General of India in the Supreme Court of India. The Delhi government says that this particular ordinance that was issued by the let's say by the President of India, or they say by the central government, okay. This particular ordinance amends the Constitution of India, okay. This particular ordinance itself amends the Constitution of India. I am in short writing COI, it means the Constitution of India, like for me, for your understanding, okay. So the Delhi government says that, like, an ordinance should not amend the Constitution of India, because ordinances should be issued in recess of Parliament, and it should be issued only in exceptional situations. It should not be used for, let's say, like legislating the regular things, okay. This is the view of the Delhi government. And if I talk about the view or stand of the central government, that stand of the central government says that once the, let's say, Parliament reassembles in the monsoon session, so they are going to list this particular matter, right, on July 20, okay, 20th of July for parliamentary approval, okay, for parliamentary debate, I would say, for parliamentary debate and approval. So the central government wants the courts to wait for some time to allow the Parliament to start hearing this particular matter, okay. This is the thing. And the Delhi government also says that, like, state public services, like, state public service related matter, okay, state public services, which is mentioned in entry number 41, okay, it is mentioned in entry number 41 in the state list, okay, in the state list for Delhi. This has been nullified by the central government through that ordinance that we have talked about, okay. Apart from this, the Delhi government also points out that the central government wants to establish an authority through this particular ordinance, and name of that authority is National Capital Civil Services Authority, okay. Name of that authority is National Capital Civil Services Authority, Civil Services Authority. And this particular authority, okay, this particular authority makes the Chief Minister of Delhi, okay, CM of Delhi, a minority, okay, in taking a decision related to service matters, okay. So the Delhi government says that this National Capital Civil Services Authority that the central government wants to establish in Delhi through the ordinance, this authority will have 3 members, okay. One of the member will be the Chief Minister of Delhi, and other 2 members will be topmost civil servants in Delhi, okay. So one would be, let's say, like, the Chief Secretary of Delhi, and other will be Home Secretary of Delhi. So 2 officers from civil services and the Chief Minister will be a member of this National Capital Civil Services Authority. And the Delhi government says that, like, this particular authority will have only 3 members, and out of these 3 members the quorum will be set by 2 members only, and the decision of the 2 members will be final, all right. So it means, like, even if the Chief Minister of Delhi is not present in taking a decision related to National Capital Civil Services Authority related matters, in that also, like, they can take a decision and they can forward this particular decision to the Lieutenant Governor, okay, to the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. So in that case, effectively keeping the authority with the central government, okay. So this is what the Delhi government says, All right. And if I talk about the stand of the central government says soon after the Supreme Court of India has given a verdict in this particular matter in 11th May 2023, the Delhi government started witch hunting for those officers, I mean like, you know, witch hunting and categorizing the officers so that they could transfer the officer. And to stop that particular thing, what the central government has done, they have issued the ordinance, okay, they have resorted to the ordinance route. So this is what is being said by the central government. And apart from this, the central government also says that the Parliament of India has overriding, okay, Parliament of India has overriding powers to make laws even on subjects regarding which the Legislative Assembly on Delhi would be competent to. It says that the Parliament of India has the authority to make overriding laws even on those subjects on which the Delhi government has the authority to make laws, okay, or Delhi legislative, like, you know, Delhi state legislative assembly have the authority to make laws. So this is the thing, it is an ongoing activity that is happening. We need to wait and watch, like, you know, how it happens in the parliament, whether, like, you know, this bill is passed in the parliament or not. And also we need to wait and watch to see like what decision is taken by the Supreme Court of India through the constitutional bench of the Supreme Court of India. All right. So this is an ongoing thing. We need to read about it because, like, you know, this is a matter like that keeps on coming in the news time and again, right? So this is, I mean, like, you know, the continuation of the previous article that we were discussing. Apart from this, now we are going to discuss another very important topic. Okay, this is a very important topic. This is topic number 2. It says NITI Aayog report says 13.5 crore people lifted out of multidimensional poverty. Okay, so you might be knowing that multidimensional poverty index is released. Okay, multidimensional poverty index is released by 2 organizations. Okay, one of the organization is UNDP and other organization is Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. So they have released global multidimensional poverty index, and in that index also we have noted that, like, you know, many Indians, like, you know, many Indians have come out of poverty in the past, I mean, like, you know, past 8 years, I guess. And this article talks about a report that is released by the NITI Aayog. Okay, the report that is released by the NITI Aayog, it is known as National Multidimensional Poverty Index, a progress review. So let's talk about this thing. Topic 2. So we are going to understand about NITI Aayog. NITI Aayog report. We are going to discuss about NITI Aayog report. The name of the report is National Multidimensional Poverty Index. Okay, name of the report is National Multidimensional Poverty Index a progress review. 2023. This is the name of the report. Okay, National Multidimensional Poverty Index, a progress review 2023. It is released by NITI Aayog. Okay, so this particular report is released by this organization NITI Aayog. So this is a very, very important report. Okay, you might be knowing that NITI Aayog is a statutory body. Okay, so like NITI Aayog is a body that has been constituted. I mean, like, this NITI Aayog has replaced, okay, the earlier Planning Commission of India. Okay, it has replaced Planning Commission, and this NITI Aayog is a very important body. It has come up with this particular report, and this report talks about that, like, India was able to uplift people from poverty. And we have not only uplifted people from poverty in some of the districts or some of the states, but like we have uplifted them from like, you know, some of those states that were facing grim poverty condition, like Bihar, Jharkhand, Meghalaya, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so, and they have also cited report of National Family Health Survey 5. Okay, this is the latest National Family Health Survey from 2019 to 21. and before this we had National Family Health Survey 4 2015 to 16. So this compares, it compares the, let's say, like, you know, poverty level in 2015-16 and 2019-21, okay, these two periods. And if I talk about the multidimensional poverty index, national multidimensional poverty index, this national multidimensional poverty index has 12 parameters, okay, there are 12 parameters in this. And what are those parameters? One of the parameters is health, education, standard of living, right? These things are examined through this particular report. So what is important for us to understand, that these indexes, these things, I mean, like, you know, these parameters, they are United Nations approved parameters. They are United Nations approved parameters. And it is important for you to remember the name of this particular report, and also remember that it is released by NITI Aayog, because it may be asked by UPSC in the prelims exam itself. Many a times they do ask questions from report and indices section, okay. So this is related to that. In your free time you need to read this, okay, you need to read this article. So you can download this PDF from the description of this video. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic quickly. All right, we'll move to the next topic. So this topic is related to environment and ecology. In this topic we are going to understand about a tiger reserve, and, like, you know, how different tiger reserves are performing related to, let's say, you know, conservation of tiger. So it says injured tigress dies in MP's Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve, okay. So where is Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve located? The Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve is located in the state of Madhya Pradesh, okay, it is located in the state of Madhya Pradesh. So it is important that you remember the name of this particular tiger reserve, and also in your free time you should locate on map the location of Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve, okay, Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve. So here one big cat, I mean tiger, has died, okay. So this article just talks about this tiger died, and also they are trying to investigate, like, you know, why the tiger has died in Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve, because, you know, tiger is a part of big cat family, and, like, you know, their death rate actually talks about grim reality of conservation. I mean, like, we need to step up the conservation measures, okay. So this is that was an article. So with this we came to another article. It says a common civil services code spelling quality for every Indian. A common civil code, okay, not civil services, common civil code. Basically this article is about uniform civil code. You might be knowing that the uniform civil code is mentioned under article 44 of the Constitution of India. So it is a part of directive principles of state policy, and the government has been, let's say, thinking of like establishing uniform civil code soon after, like, India got independence. I mean, like, after India got independence, the first law minister of India was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and, like, you know, he like, you know, went forward to, let's say, implement this particular provision, but it was not implemented because of, let's say, resistance from certain sections. And now this uniform civil code is like, you know, the ruling government is thinking of implementing it, but there are many sections of the society, many people, I mean, like, you know, be it Muslims, be it Hindu, be it Christian people, be it, let's say, like, you know, other minorities, they are also opposing the implementation of uniform civil code in India. So now through this article the author wants to highlight the importance of uniform civil code, why an uniform civil code is needed, and how this uniform civil code is going to bring parity between men and women when it comes to, let's say, like, you know, equality, right, in India, equality, like, you know, between male and females, right, you know, equality, giving equal status to like, you know, male and female in India. So he has talked about that, like, you know, it is not new that there has been opposition to any new law that is being you know, introduced by the parliament or that is being proposed by the central government. There has been many instances of opposition to a new law that is being implemented, and, like, you know, many opposition has happened, and the author says that the debate that is happening related to uniform civil code in India, this debate is required because this will generate awareness among the masses, this will generate awareness among the people that awareness among the people about the importance of having uniform civil code. And also all those oppositions that people are coming up with, those oppositions can also be addressed, right, properly. Those oppositions can also be addressed. And so the author says that laws that are boxed, okay. So here they talk about, the author has given multiple issues that, like, many sections of the society, they have said that that say, like, it is a fundamental right for every citizen to practice their own religion, to profess their religion. And also the religion itself, let's say, like, has laws, like, personal laws for every, let's say, section of the society. In most of the cases, the religion itself, talks about, like, how marriage should happen, what should be the laws that will be governing, and how, let's say, inheritance should be, looked into, how adoption should happen, how divorce can be given, like that. Okay, so like every religion has their own personal law. Similarly, like if we talk about Muslims, they have All India Muslim Personal Law Board that also is opposing the introduction or opposing the uniform civil code. So here the author has given, let's say, like multiple points towards and against implementation of uniform civil code. But he has at last, he has come up with this conclusion that it is important that we should implement the uniform civil code. Okay, it is important that we should implement the uniform civil code. So what is uniform civil code? Through this uniform civil code, the government of India wants to bring a uniform law that will be applicable to all men and women in India. And this particular law will bring parity, right, among, let's say, different sections of the society in matters related to marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance, maintenance, etc. So this law is required. This is what is being talked by the author in this article. Okay, so you can read this article in your free time. Okay, I hope like I have made it clear like what is the importance of this article. So with this, like we have two questions on this topic. One of the question is for mains. It says India plans for a comprehensive data governance framework. In respect to this, enumerate the personal data protection bill. Okay, so this is related to some other topic. So let's discuss about this thing. Okay, it says with reference to uniform civil code, consider the following statements. Number one, it says Goa is the only state in India that has a uniform civil code. Number two, it says uniform civil code is mentioned in Article 23 of Part 4 of Directive Principles of State Policy. Okay, Part 4 of the Constitution of India basically. And Part 4 is Directive Principles of State Policy. It is legally enforceable. So the thing is like, uniform civil code is mentioned under Article 44 of the Constitution of India. It is not mentioned in Article 23. So second statement is wrong. Third statement, it says it is legally enforceable. This statement is also wrong, okay, because like DPSPs are not legally enforceable. First, it says Goa is the only state in India that has a uniform civil code. Yes, Goa is the only state in India that has a uniform civil code because Goa was under Portuguese rule, and after the Portuguese went away, like uniform civil code was implemented in Goa. Okay, so only one statement is correct, and here we need to identify the correct statement. So option A would be the right answer in our case. Okay, option A will be the right answer in our case, and this question like you can practice. I mean like the mains answer question you can practice and share with us. We are going to evaluate your answer and we are going to give you back your evaluated copy. The explanation to the prelims question is given over here. Download the PDF and go through the explanation in your free time. Then we have another question, like another topic. It says the bill that fences the right to information. And the question, mains question that we have discussed earlier. So that question is related to this particular article. Okay, that question is related to this article. So in this article we are going to discuss about a bill that fences in the right to information. Okay, so let's start discussing this topic. Let's say topic 4, a bill that fences in the right to information. okay, a bill that fences in the right to information. So in this article we will understand about the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Okay, so on one side we have Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2023. The central government wants to implement the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2023, but at presently, like we have the RTI Act, Right to Information Act 2005, which is in place. So this article talks about the, let's say, lacuna that the Digital Personal Data Protection bill is facing. Okay, it talks about the lacuna. What are the lacunas that this particular Digital Personal Data Protection Bill is facing? One of the thing is like it vaguely mentions about protection of the personal data. Okay, protection of the personal data, and it says that the public information officials, okay, public information officials or officers can deny giving information under Right to Information Act by citing that it amounts to, let's say, giving away the personal data of an individual. And the author in this article wants to highlight that if this is being implemented as it is going to hamper the Right to Information Act. And he has said that the Right to Information Act is the most, one of the most important act that India has. Why? Because it gives the authority to the citizens of India, right, to seek information from the government. And if we talk about the Constitution of India, the preamble of the Constitution of India talks about that we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign socialist democratic republic, nation. So here we talk about that the authority lies with the people. The people of India have, let's say, framed constitution for themselves, and people of India, they are electing the government, and if they want to seek information from the government, right, so in that case that information should not be denied. And the author says that this particular act, the Right to Information Act, brings vibrancy in the democracy, and it also brings fears among the public servants or officials who may be indulged or who may be willing to indulge into corruption activities, because in the past the Right to Information Act has already, in the past it has, let's say, it has unearthed, it has, let's say, exposed many corrupt officials, it has exposed many corruption activities, okay, in the past. So the author is saying in favor of having the Right to Information Act in place, and the author is criticizing through different points that this proposed data protection bill, which is like Personal Data Protection Bill, okay, is not a good bill, okay, he says. And also he talked about that there is a provision in the Right to Information Act, right. So this Digital Personal Data Protection Bill wants to amend that particular provision, okay. So the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, it wants to amend the section 8 clause 1 subclause J, and that section 8 clause 1 subclause J of the Right to Information Act talks about that an information may be denied by a public servant, information officer only on the ground that he will not be able to give this information to the Parliament of India also. Means this is a very, very important statement that was made by the author. It says, provided that the information which cannot be denied to the Parliament or a state legislature shall not be denied to any person. I mean, let's say under Right to Information Act, I want to seek some information from the government. I can file an RTI application for seeking information, and the public information official should give me that information, okay, should give me that information, and he can withhold only those information that he cannot give to the state legislature or the Parliament. Something that he cannot give to the state legislature or the Parliament, he will not be giving it to me. and otherwise he should give all the information to me. Whatever information they will give to the parliament, whatever information they will give to the state legislature, they have to give that information to the public also, to the citizens also. Okay, so this is an exception that is available at this point of time under Right to Information Act. But the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill that the government of India is introducing, this bill is trying to meld, trying to mold Section 8 Clause 1 Clause J of the RTI Act, of the Right to Information Act. And so author says that it is going to, let's say, make the Right to Information Act a teethless act. And this particular act has so far proved, it's been, let's say, it has been implemented in 2005 and it is 2023. It's been 18 years that this act has been in place, and in nowhere this act has exposed any personal data of any individual. It has only exposed corruption activity of the government, and through RTI, I mean, we have come to know many corrupt activities, and those have been punished also. Okay, so this is the thing, and this article is a rightly written article. This article was written by the former Central Information Commissioner, okay, Shailesh Gandhi. Okay, he is a former Central Information Commissioner. He has written this article, and this article is written really well. Okay, you need to read this article to understand about personal digital personal data protection bill, and also you need to learn about the RTI Act, Right to Information Act. I have already discussed a question. That question I will showcase once again. This is the question that you need to answer, right, in your free time. This question is related to that act that we have just discussed, that article. There is another question for you, and this question is for the prelims exam. Okay, we are going to discuss this question now. It says, with reference to the right to information, consider the following statements. Okay, Right to Information Act you can consider 2005. It is an initiative taken by Department of Personnel and Training, Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. This is a right statement. Okay, we are talking about RTI Act 2005. Okay, RTI Act 2005. So, in the RTI website itself, it is mentioned that this initiative was taken by the Department of Personnel and Training, Ministry of this thing. But in the article, they have mentioned how this bill came up with. Okay, so there was an Andolan, okay, Kisan Andolan. So, people have, let's say, protested for having the Right to Information Act. Then Atomic Energy Act 1912 provides that it shall be an offence to disclose information restricted by the central government. Okay. So here, if we talk about the Right to Information Act, in the Right to Information Act, there are some provisions, there are specifically 10 such provisions under which the public information officer can deny giving an information, right. So this atomic energy related thing is one of such, okay, it is one of, those 10 initiatives, okay. So it says the Atomic Energy Act 1912 provides that it shall be an offence to disclose information that is restricted by the central government. Third, it says it is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Article 21 of the Constitution of India talks about, right to life and personal liberty. Okay, right to life and liberty. So this RTI Act, Right to Information, I mean, it has been read by a Supreme Court judgment. There has been a Supreme Court judgment where the Supreme Court of India has talked about, that Right to Information Act can be considered as a fundamental right under Article 19 Clause 1 of the Constitution of India. This is through a Supreme Court judgment. So this statement is wrong. The first statement is right, the second statement is right. So only two of the statements are right. It means option B should be the right answer, right? In this case, option B should be the right answer. Yes, option B is the right answer, and you can go through the explanation in your free time, right? And here we have mentioned about the Supreme Court case also that says Raj Narayan versus State of Uttar Pradesh case. And in this case, the Supreme Court of India has ruled that right to information will be treated as a fundamental right under Article 19 of the Constitution of India. Okay, so you can refer to this particular judgment of the let's say Supreme Court of India in this case. Okay, so with this, like, we will move to the next topic quickly. Okay, let's move to this topic. It says I on Emirati flows. Okay, I on Emirati flows. There are both risk and benefits in the rupee dirham settlement system. Okay, so this topic is related to Indian economy, and I have mentioned about the syllabus part also. Okay, this is GS paper 3. It is related to GS paper 2 and GS paper 3 both. Okay, so now, so in this topic we are going to understand about rupee dirham settlement system. Okay, rupee dirham settlement system. So recently the Prime Minister of India has visited the United Arab Emirates, and the United Arab Emirates is a conglomerate of, like, it's an association of 6 emirates over there. And so both the countries, like India and UAE, has signed agreements. United Arab Emirates have signed agreements for allowing bilateral, okay, bilateral exchange, okay, bilateral exchange of rupee and dirham for trade settlements. Let's say, like, there are importers, exporters in both the countries, United States of America and United Arab Emirates, sorry, India and United Arab Emirates. So the trade activities happening between both these countries, and, like, the settlement of payment can be done, or remittance can be done through either through rupee or through dirham. They do not need to rely on any third currency, let's say dollar, US dollar. They will not be required. So in this article they have mentioned about the positive aspects of having rupee dirham settlement system, and also they talk about negative aspects that may be associated with this. Okay, and for implementing the rupee dirham thing, from Indian side we have the Reserve Bank of India, and from the UAE side we have the Central Bank of UAE. Okay, Central Bank of United Arab Emirates. Okay, so both these banks have, let's say, signed memorandum of understanding, and under this memorandum of understanding they are going to come up with some local settlement system. Okay, they are going to come up with some local settlement system. Okay, so we'll discuss about it. So they will, let's say, permit for local currency settlement system, and later on they may also, let's say, implement some kind of messaging system among themselves as well. So this topic has been in news, so, like, this will boost the standing of Indian currency in the international market, because it may also lead to, let's say, creation of a kind of market where rupee dirham, right, their relative prices will not be decided by US dollar prices. Okay, it will not be decided by US dollar prices. So they have talked about the possibility of, let's say, creation of that market as well in this article. So you can read this article in your free time, right? So with this, like, we will move to another topic quickly. This is also an editorial article. It was there in page 7 of the Hindu newspaper. So in this topic we are going to discuss about an international organization. Okay, name of the international organization is this World Trade Organization. It says dispute settlements that have no parallel. Okay, dispute settlements that have no parallel. So let's understand about this topic quickly. Topic is dispute settlements that have no parallel. So this article has been written by two authors. One of the author is like a professor in the Indian Foreign Trade Institute, IFT, and so like they have discussed about the World Trade Organization. Okay, they have discussed about World Trade Organization. As you know that World Trade Organization is an intergovernmental. It is an intergovernmental organization, and India is a member of this particular organization. Okay, India and USA both are member of this particular organization. There are, I guess, 163 members as of now, and all the decisions that are taken by WTO, right? All important decisions are taken on a consensus basis. Okay, the important decisions in WTO are taken on a consensus basis. What it means? It means all the existing parties of WTO, all the member countries of WTO should agree to that particular, let's say, amendment that they want to do in the WTO, let's say, establishing document. So this WTO, World Trade Organization, does have a dispute settlement understanding, and under that it has formulated a dispute settlement body also. Okay, dispute settlement body, and this body works at the first level. Dispute settlement body works at the first level. Apart from this, there is an appellate tribunal also. Okay, appellate tribunal. There is an appellate tribunal also, right? So it works at the second level. Most of the disputes that happen between countries when it comes to, let's say, inter-border trade between the member countries, it is resolved at the dispute settlement body level itself. But some of the disputes are also, let's say, like appealed in the appellate tribunal, But that appellate tribunal should have, let's say, like 7 members. It is a 7-member body, and they do not look into the facts of the case. The facts of the case and law applicable in the case is decided, is taken into account by the dispute settlement body itself. The appellate tribunal only looks into whether, like the law that was applied was valid or not. They only look into the legality, the legal aspect of it. Okay, so for dispute settlement body, for the appellate tribunal to function, it should have sufficient number of members, right? It should have a quorum also. But the United States of America has been blocking, okay, USA has been blocking appointment of members since 2019. And since 2019, it's been 4 years that this particular appellate tribunal of the World Trade Organization is defunct. It means this appellate tribunal is not functional from last 4 years. And the United States of America has, raised many cases against India in the World Trade Organization. India has also likewise, let's say, filed some cases in the World Trade Organization. And in this article that we were talking about, in this article, the author has mentioned about 6 such cases that were resolved by these two countries mutually. They have decided to resolve these two matters mutually. Okay, and these matters involved. Okay, so I will write down these matters for you. And why they have decided to, let's say, resolve these matters mutually? Because like recently the Prime Minister of India has visited the United States of America, and there was a bonhomie between the two leaders, and they decided to settle these disputes among themselves. One of the thing is the United States of America has disputed, right? The USA has filed a case in WTO against India, okay, against India. In which case, one of the cases, it is known as domestic content requirement. Okay, domestic content requirement, domestic content requirement. In the National Solar Mission, okay, in the National Solar Mission. So in the National Solar Mission, we had a domestic content requirement. It means for implementing the National Solar Mission, the procurement of the equipment should happen domestically. they should not import it. So this was, let's say, contested by the United States of America in WTO, and India has lost in that particular case. But apart from this, there have been many cases where India has filed in WTO against USA. That includes sub-federal progress in US related to renewable energy. Okay, so India has filed in WTO where India has won. Apart from this, merchandise exports from India scheme, there is other dispute, section 232 of tariff imposed under the US Trade Expansion Act 1962. Then most favored nation rate for 8 products in India. So there were many things like of dispute between India and USA related to trade matters, and these things have been resolved mutually. So that's why the author has mentioned the dispute settlement that have no parallel, like there is no other country that have done the settlement of disputes in this manner. Okay, so like it is not very important to go through these cases in detail, but you need to understand about what is World Trade Organization, what is India's role over there, and what is dispute settlement understanding, what is dispute settlement body, what does appellate tribunal do, and also you should remember the name of the cases, like in your free time you can read about this. So this is a very important article. So with this, like we will move to another topic. It says, okay, this topic is important for GS paper 1 under art and culture. Okay, so it says United States of America hands over 105 antiquities to India following agreement. Okay, you know that these antiquities that have been handed over by USA to India, these are artifacts. I mean, like these showcases, like like historical tradition in India. So there are multiple artifacts that are important from historical perspectives. For example, like these may belong to some of the kingdoms, some they may be related to some of the religious activities and all. So these are significant artifacts, and like many such artifacts have been stolen from India, and they have been, let's say, like transported to United States of America in their market. But US authorities have seized those artifacts, and like they have decided to give back these artifacts to India. And so recently the Prime Minister of India visited over there. So he had met with Indian diaspora in USA, and he has talked about that the USA has decided to return more than 100 artifacts to India, and these artifacts have been received by the consulate which is located in USA, and they are in the process of transporting these artifacts to India. Okay, so this is an ongoing thing that was in news. So like related to this, we do have a question for you to solve. Okay, a question for the prelims exam. So we'll talk about this thing. So let's discuss about this question. It says Article 49 of the Constitution of India obliges the state to protect monuments and places and objects of national importance. So you might be knowing that Article 49 of the Constitution of India is part of Directive Principles of State Policy. Okay, it is part of Directive Principles of State Policy, which is mentioned in Part 4 of the Constitution of India. Okay, so this article number 49, it talks about that this it is the duty of the state to protect monuments and places of and objects of national importance. Then UNESCO formulated 1970 Convention on the means of prohibiting and preventing the illicit import, export and transfer of ownership of cultural property. Okay, so we need to identify how many of these statements are correct. Which of the above statements are correct? Okay, so both are correct. Like to my point, let us see the solution. Okay, so both these statements are right in this case. You can go through the explanation in your free time. So we have included the explanation of these things. I mean, like this question. So this is the explanation in your free time. Just download the PDF and go through the solution. Apart from this, we do have another article for you. It says the risk of small states heavy reliance on the union government. Okay, small states must prioritize raising their own revenue to reduce their vulnerabilities in the future. Okay, so here this article is related to, let's say, like state governments raising their own funds for meeting their expenditure. It talks about the fiscal prudence for the states. Okay, so states, I mean, like fiscal prudence means the states has certain sources of revenue, and from those sources of revenue it generates money, and that money it utilizes for, let's say, meeting certain goals of the state, like for doing some welfare activities and doing some planned expenditure, non-planned expenditure and all. So in this article they have mentioned that state must prioritize raising their own revenue. They should rely less on the central government, okay, and it will reduce their vulnerabilities in the future, okay. So they have taken example of some of the states like Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, like they have taken example of northeastern states like Arunachal Pradesh, then Manipur, okay, and so like similarly. So you can go through this article to understand what do we mean by fiscal prudence, right? So the charts are based on data collected from reports titled State Finances, a study of budgets, okay, it's related to state finances. So here they have talked about northeastern states like Nagaland, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, and also hilly states as well, Himachal Pradesh, Tripura, right? So it simply wants to give us a message that the state government should be self-reliant, okay, to avoid any risk of, let's say, any vulnerabilities in the future. So this is related to Indian economy. This article is from Indian Economy. Now again, this is a very important article, and there have been many such articles in the past related to this topic. It says how are, okay, it says how are cheetahs faring in India. You might be knowing that cheetahs have been declared extinct in India in 1952 itself, okay. They are an extinct species from 1952 itself in India. But Government of India has gone for a cheetah reintroduction program, and under that cheetah reintroduction program we have tied up with some foreign countries, for example South Africa, Namibia, etc. From there what we are doing every year, and over the next 10 years we are going to import some cheetah and we are going to introduce them in our national parks. And one of the national park in India is Kuno National Park, okay, is Kuno National Park, Kuno NP. And this Kuno National Park is located in the state of Madhya Pradesh, okay, it is located in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Recently 12 such cheetahs have been translocated or relocated from, let's say, African continent to Kuno National Park in India, and some of these cheetahs have died recently. So after the death of cheetah, like there was an alarm among the conservationists, among those people like who wanted to protect the cheetah over here, okay. So there was an alarm that how and why cheetahs are dying, and people are pondering upon that there can be many reasons for death of cheetahs. What can be those reasons? One of the reason is like these cheetahs were not able to, let's say, adapt to the Indian climate or Indian habitability, okay. So in Africa they have a different environment altogether, their habitat was different, and so once they were introduced in India, once they were introduced in Indian subcontinent, so like initially they have been kept in captivity. Kept in captivity means they have been kept in, let's say, like in zoos, in a scenario where like they were not getting natural environment. So that keeping them in captivity for a long time, that has caused psychological damage among cheetahs. I mean, psychologically they were feeling that they are trapped somewhere, and later on these cheetahs have been, let's say, like freed into the wild in Kuno National Park. And if they are freed into the wild in Kuno National Park, after then, like let's say some of the cheetahs started roaming around here and there to establish their territory. I mean, like cheetahs are animals that keep on moving, okay. They establish their territory, they establish, I mean, like this will be my area where I am going to prey upon. So initially during the process of, let's say, establishing their territory, they might have they might have fight among themselves, they might have had fight among themselves, and in those fights also like some of the cheetahs have died. And recently one cheetah has died because of some neck infection, okay. There was a neck infection in a cheetah, so because of that factor, like that cheetah has died. And people are talking about that that infection in the neck was because of, let's say, like because of a ring that is given to cheetah, right? And that ring also has some geolocation tag. Okay, so in this article they have mentioned about, okay, in this article they have mentioned about Kuno National Park, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. They have mentioned about what is Project Cheetah. Okay, so what is Project Cheetah? Project Cheetah is a cheetah relocation program, under which, like, every year we are going to relocate about 5 to 10 cheetahs from Africa or some other countries to India. We are going to bring, have habitability of cheetahs in our national parks, and after 10 years we want to have a stable population of around 35 cheetahs in India. And recently 4 cubs, who were born, 3 of them have died. Okay, 3 of them have died, and people are talking about this. These cubs are, let's say, they find the Indian climate to be uninhabitable. They do not find the habitat suitable, or they do not have as much adaptability to the Indian climate as lions or tigers have. Okay, so these are the things. So Project Cheetah is cheetah reintroduction program, under which we will translocate 5 to 10 cheetahs from other countries to India, and we want to maintain a stable population of cheetah in India, having around 30 to 35 cheetahs. Okay, then now many people are suggesting a medical review of these cheetahs. Medical review. Already we have freed many cheetahs into the wild, so these cheetahs are roaming around. Some of these cheetahs have died. Now people are talking about that, you should have a medical review of all the cheetahs to see their, let's say, health related conditions. But having a medical review will require, hunting, going behind these cheetahs and bringing them into captivity, doing medical tests, and after then establishing a reason of their death. So this is the thing. So people are saying that if medical review is done, it will set the future course of action, whether the cheetah reintroduction program was right or wrong. If it is right, then future cheetah reintroduction will happen, and if, let's say, government finds that these cheetahs are not suitable for Indian climate, they will not be able to survive over here. So what is, how it is going to serve the purpose of cheetah reintroduction? In that case, this mission may fail. Okay, so these are the things that were discussed by the author through this article. So it says, are the cheetah deaths unusual? The author says yes, the cheetah deaths are unusual because of many reasons. One of the reason is they have not been able to adapt to the Indian situation. Second thing that they say is these cheetahs have been infected. Okay, these cheetahs have been infected by, let's say, some of the bacteria or something they have mentioned. And in this article they have talked about bomas. Bomas are, let's say there is a cheetah that we want to keep in captivity. So that cheetah is left open in a place within 100 kilometer, okay, within 1 square kilometer of radius, okay, where we will be having big fans so that the cheetahs cannot, let's say, go beyond that, and they will be staying over there. Okay, so they have mentioned about bomas. Okay, this is known as boma, B-O-M-A. Boma is kind of, okay, boma is a kind of, let's say, this is a big area, 1 square kilometer area, where we are, let's say, having one cheetah in one boma, like that. So this is the thing. How successful has the cheetah Project Cheetah has been so far? It says we have been successful to translocate these cheetahs, but we have not been successful in saving their lives. Many of these cheetahs have died, and that's why it needs a medical review. Okay, so these are the things that are mentioned in this article. You can read this article in your free time to understand about the cheetah reintroduction program. You can understand about Project Cheetah. So this is the thing. So with this, we will move to the next topic now quickly. This is another topic. We'll be quick in understanding this. So in this article, basically the Home Minister of India, Mr. Amit Shah, he has talked about new drone policy. Okay, new drone policy. So recently, I mean, like, you know, drug trafficking and national security, like they have held a conference. Okay, name of the conference is drug trafficking and national security. So Mr. Amit Shah has attended a conference on drug trafficking and national security, and in that particular conference, like, you know, the Chief Minister of Punjab was also present, Mr. Bhagwant Mann, and he has talked about that, like, you know, drones are being used. Okay, he has talked about drones are being used by terrorists for doing surveillance activities over the territory of India, and he has also cited, you know, the number of incidences where, like, these drones have been found, you know, doing surveillance activities, and some of these drones have been neutralized, but many of these drones have caused damage to Indian territory. So to our response to the question of Bhagwant Mann, he said that, like, you know, the new drone policy that is already there, we are going to strengthen that particular drone policy, so that everyone whosoever wants to use drone, they need a registration. Okay, they should go for a compulsory registration of all unmanned aerial vehicles. And also he has talked about like, you know, putting restrictions on usage of drones. Okay, some kind of restrictions on the usage of drones. So this article is related to the new drone policy. Recently it was in news also. So, like, you know, under new drone policy, they have also created a digital sky, I think, like a platform. Okay, like in that platform you can get your drones registered. Okay, a pilot, a person who wants to fly a drone, he also can himself registered as a pilot, okay, of drone. Drones are registered. A person who flies drone of a specific category, they also need to register themselves. Okay, there are different categories of drones, 5 categories of drones under new drone policy. Okay, small, very small, like medium, large, like that. So they have categorized the drones in that manner. So we do have a question for you, and after writing an answer to this question, you can share your answer with us to evaluation@lukmaanias.com. okay, evaluation@lukmaanias.com. so we are going to evaluate an answer and give you back your evaluated copy. It says, in the context of recent drone policy which has been liberalized and simplified the regulations pertaining to drones, discuss the importance of new drone rules. I mean, like, it is a simple question. It talks about, like, you need to discuss about new drone rules that are in place. Okay, so you can write answer to the to this question in your free time. Let's take another topic quickly. It says, Russia exits UN brokered deal to export Ukrainian grain via Black Sea. Okay, so all of us know that a war is happening between Ukraine and Russia, and recently Ukrainian forces have attacked on a bridge. Okay, they have attacked on a bridge, and this is the only bridge that connects the Crimean Peninsula to Russia. Okay, it connects the Crimean Peninsula to Russia, and this bridge is located on the Kerch Strait. The Kerch Strait connects the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea. Okay, so we have already discussed about Kerch Strait. So we will talk about that. This topic, it says Russia exits UN brokered deal. Okay, so Russia has exited UN brokered deal. So basically what has happened, like, in this article they have talked about damage of a bridge. Okay, a bridge was damaged by Ukrainian forces. And this bridge, I mean, like, this bridge used to connect, so there is a strait which is known as a Strait of, okay, This is known as Strait of Kerch. Kerch. This Strait of Kerch used to connect Sea of Azov and Black Sea. Okay, there are two seas, and a strait is a narrow channel of water that connects two water bodies. And on the top of this strait there was a bridge. Okay, this bridge was on the top of this thing. It used to connect. On one side there was Russia, and on other side there is Crimean Peninsula. On the other side there is Crimean Peninsula. So basically Russia has annexed Crimea earlier in 2014. So now Crimea is a part of Russia, and it was connected with Russia, and now because of that attack, okay, because of that drone attack on this particular bridge, okay, this bridge has got damaged, and Russian president has, in an interview talked about the damage of this particular bridge, and he has also pulled Russia out of Ukrainian grain agreement. Means like, through that agreement Ukrainians were, let's say, exporting grain to other countries. Okay, so this is the thing. So in your free time you can read about this article, but the location of the Kerch Strait is important. In your free time you find the map of Kerch Strait. Earlier, like, I have discussed this topic with you, right? So with this, like, we will move to the next topic. Now it says US India working to make investment easier for energy transition. Okay, so this topic is related to international relations, IR. It talks about India US relation, and they want to, let's say, smoothen the process of investment. Okay, they want to make investment easier for energy transition. Okay, so this is the thing. So you can read this article to understand, and this particular thing came after a bilateral meeting with India's finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman on the sidelines of G20 meeting. Ms. Yellen said that the two nations have been collaborating across a range of economic issues, including commercial and technological collaboration and strengthening supply chains. Okay, so this is just an ongoing issue related to IR. You need to read this, and you need to understand about the G20 nations. G20 nations has 19 countries and one European Union as party to it. Okay, G20 nations. Okay, so, and India is currently holding the presidency of G20. Okay, now this is one question from, let's say, yesterday's news articles, right? Yesterday we discussed about cicadas, right? Cicadas were a kind of fly species having, let's say, like three parts in the leg. So we discussed about it. So this is related to that. So I'll be solving this question for you. In your free time, just download the PDF and go through all the articles and solve the questions also. It says, which of the following is true about cicadas? Okay, so it says cicadas are mammals. Cicadas have a lifespan of only a few days. Cicadas are closely related to butterflies. Cicadas make their characteristic buzzing sound by rubbing their wings together. Okay, so the fourth statement, D part, is right in this article. So you can go through the solution of this topic in your free time, and that's all from my side for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's discussion. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.